The silence is deafening. And here we go. Half a minute in, and we have people showing up, Reptar. They love you. Hey, yeah, we're gonna find out if we're having a lovely day. I had to accept less for Reptar because of the virus. He only gets iceberg lettuce today, not romaine. So we'll see if we have to gin that up with a few crickets. Oh, there's like a dozen crickets. Oh, you think that made a difference? He's like, forget the lettuce, man. You're giving me steak. Gotta fatten him up. He's my last meal. You gotta have a plan. Yeah, that's. Oh, he wants more of a variety. Come on, there's more. I know there's more that drops out of the sky. Oh, crickets. Yum, yum, yum. Hey, James. Yeah, we all have to tighten our belts this time. Reptar has to put up with iceberg lettuce instead of romaine. No gourmet lettuce. He doesn't seem to mind since he's getting the steak part of the meal. Not actually recognizing it as food. But I'm digging them crickets. Mm-hmm. And they are not pleasant. I thought, oh man, I could take a few of those with me to the river with my grandkids. I always use live crickets. Well, they're more like sawdust on the inside, so I don't think they're all that pleasant to eat. You put a hook in them and they just fall apart. The mealworms are freeze dried, so there's no moisture left in them. You can't use them for bait either. So when we're all outside and social again this summer, we may have to get some real food for him that's alive. It's a blast to watch him eat it. Oh, and very sad for the poor dying bugs. Well, thanks for the thumbs up. Reptar appreciates it. I gotta try and get him to eat the lettuce. All right, maybe some mealworms. And I not overfeed him. I didn't feed him at all yesterday, so he cleaned up some of the stuff in the cage. Oh, I dumped it right on the lettuce. Maybe he'd. Oh, come on. You like them buggies. Well, hi, James. Be safe. Yeah, he turned out a lot of videos today. least they showed up in my recommendation or notifications. Excuse me. I know I put it right on the lettuce, and you just don't know, do you? Oh, you're like my kid. Pick out the food. Make a stew and have them separate the carrots and potatoes and beans and meat before they eat it. Try and tell them it all ends up together and is separated in your stomach no matter how you eat it, but they won't listen. Your Reptar don't listen. I see that's yesterday's food he's chosen. I'm trying a little bit different times a day to see what I can get, but try to bring sunshine or a smile to somebody's day. Oh, he'll set up there for a while, warm up, and come back down and probably eat the lettuce anyways. But actually, fishing works pretty well for social distancing because you don't want your fishing poles right next to each other to begin with. Oh, there we go. Get into that salad. I'm happy you're eating it. Thank you. Now I don't have to stay awake at night worrying about you starving. Not. Oh, Darlene Marie. Good to see you in here. Yeah, old Reptar, he's having to suffer with the rest of us. He has to eat iceberg lettuce instead of romaine lettuce. Poor iceberg lettuce comes out at, what is it, 99.7% water. Romaine is only like 99.1, or it's insanely mostly water. Just think of making a nice cheeseburger and dumping on a half a cup of water before you eat it. Flyless fruit flies? Yeah, okay. I'd rather have my house infested with flyless fruit flies. Not, they're still crawling all over. We did our Reptar's been excuse me, I covered my hand. Cough with my elbow. Now my elbow's dirty. Great. But he's been through a couple episodes of crickets when my grandson was the caretaker of him. He ripped the box open that had 250 crickets in it. They spread out in his room all over the place. When I did it, he has a really heavy rock that's not in there right now. It's soaking. It has like a spun hole in the middle, and the crickets crawled in there, and they were still alive 2 months later. I don't know what the heck they eat. So I found out that I stuck a straw in the top, and I blew them out the bottom, and he took care of that. And the mealworms, I feed him a lot of times. He'll let them crawl away and hide before he'll take enough interest in them. But one cricket hops, and man, he's on it. And like I've told in other streams, I've had trouble with pets. I killed off a bunch of hamsters because after a while I would give them treats like real carrots and celery, and then they'd get diarrhea and die. People have told me to try feeding them a strawberry, a banana, melon. Yes, yes. They have a goal to get out. Hamsters too, man. They'll chew plastic for a month to get a hole big enough to get out of. And they run on a wheel all night long. How terrible of a pet. I mean, the squeaky metal ones were bad enough, but I got this really big plastic one, like it's a foot, and there's an inside spot, and it just rattles the shit out of the whole cage all night long. So, yeah, I didn't get any of my grandkids' hamsters. I'm glad he liked the lizard and then got tired of taking care of it like any normal kid does. Mom got tired of doing all the real work. Plus, they had to run a heater and a dehumidifier and a humidifier because it was in a basement room. So we'll let Grandpa take care of it. I have. Um, that would follow with what? Yeah, there was one time when I cleaned the cage underneath the bottom of the green mesh were black beetles. And I also have a few spider webs. And every once in a while, he eats something that's so small that I can't see what it is. I'm just wondering if they're not just baby house spiders. But they don't make any, there's no adult ones inside the cage because it never makes, but my corners in different places, the smoke exposes them. That's how bad I let it go. Just following Buddha and allowing all creatures to live. Buddha best bless you. Ah, give him a couple minutes. I bet he goes down and eats some more. Although he did grab like 10 crickets, so that might be enough to fill that gut, pre-gut. He's got his head down, so oh, they lay it on the cricket or in the cricket, or the cricket gets it on its feet. There's all kinds of way nature finds a way. You you leave a grocery or a garbage bag of cans that you didn't rinse in the house with in a tied garbage bag inside a house, and yet the thing will get full of flies, fruit flies. A mouse finds a way into the house, you know. Ants are the best at it because they follow the same trails. So they're the easiest to get rid of. Just put the trap in front of their trail and it's all over. I've only ordered mealworms and crickets through two of the different farms that were on Amazon. And I only ordered from them because there were 20 or 30 comments on each of them from people that bought it, or supposedly. I know you could sit there and write a fake one and insert it, but that seems like a lot of effort to go to sell some crickets from Amazon when they really don't make much money off of it. Josh is what? Some cricket farm and a worm farm. There was a guy. One was a guy's name that's just a normal name, but I don't think it was Jack's. I don't remember. It was like I said, it was on Amazon, and I haven't ordered them in over a year because they deliver it in my. If it's too big a box to fit in the big box at our little delivery spot that you have to walk down to get our mail, they put it on your porch. And I live in a park that people drive around every day right after the mail or the FedEx goes through and steal everything off the porches. Josh, it sounds familiar though. I could look; it stays in my history. Hey, freedom to film. Michigan's on lockdown, huh? Well, just opening up my stream once or twice a day to anybody that wants to talk, since everybody that isn't used to living like this, whereas to me it's my everyday. It literally only go to the store twice a month anyways. Not a lot's changed for me. My grandkids and daughter have a reason not to stop by and visit that they didn't have before. So other than that, everything's pretty much the same. It's in the 40s, almost 50s. It gets in the mid 50s. I may try to add all my extensions on my computer cord and take my camera outside, at least look at some nature. Reptar's cool and everything, but he's not bringing them in by the thousands, are you? You're going to get fired. But maybe the unemployment you get will be more than you were making before. I knew, Reptar, that you just would goad me into saying something political. I hate you for that. Oh, that would be cool watching hatchings. I've seen some literally amazing things in nature, darling, and freedom to film. Whoever's still in here, we were on Crystal Lake in Northwest Michigan in the middle of the night in 60 feet of water with lights down in the water, lights on the boat over the side, where you could see dead calm, and the graphs are there to prove it. There are smelt 4 to 5 inches long that go as far as the light can see, all the way to the bottom. We're talking millions. And then in 15 minutes, they're all gone. And a half an hour later, there's a mosquito hatch that I couldn't see my brother 5 feet away with the lantern between us. And you had to cover your face because you couldn't breathe. We had a light cream color in the side of the boat that was all full of dew. There was a quarter of an inch of dead bugs on the side of it in a matter of 30 minutes. And we're catching fish during this time. We were whitefish fishing the very end of the season when you couldn't get wigglers anymore. And then we watched these little white blobs. That's all they're like, I know exactly what you would think if I said what they looked like, but you could make a pearl necklace out of them, I would say. By the millions float up from the bottom. Just everywhere you can see these little white blobs are floating up. They're about the size of a large marble. Whatever it was, it hatched and or released its reproductive system or whatever. I don't know what they were, but in one night, three amazing hatches that happened that just should have been on record. Really. All right. See you later, Em. He's doing his chin rub, loosen up some of that stuff. Yeah, we didn't video back then. In fact, if you look at the history that I have, it's Polaroid, the Instamatic camera, Polaroid and Kodak. My mom had Polaroid, my aunt had Kodak, and they argued all the time about which was better. But the most pictures were taken whichever one had the cheapest film at the time. So it was a cool way to make a picture. And then it come with a little cardboard backer you can stick it on, and I still have them from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Around the 90s was the end of it. Everything became on your phone, and then your phone died, and you just lost all the pictures. Like I said, I'm not technically advanced enough to have downloaded them somewhere, nor do I spend the kind of money that would take. So, no printer. Well, I bought a printer when we got our computer. My son printed all my ink out in porn and took it to high school. That's the last time I myself owned a printer. Hey, Southern, and yep, see you, Freedom to Film. Keep up the good fight. Love the information and knowledge you have. I mean, I did 6 months outside with a camera and had over 900 pictures of nature. And I mean, the hillsides where one flower in all the brown and green is bright yellow or bright orange, and beautiful shots that were all of them were calendar worthy, pretty much, from high ridges up in northern Michigan, all over the place. And the phone died, so I don't have any of those pics. Now I have Google Photos that my phone takes a pic, it goes to my Google Photos, and then in a little while it's on my computer. So I guess I've caught up with technology. Or technology has made place for us dumb idiots to actually survive. I think that's more accurate. He crawled up a little higher, he may be done for a while, but I'd almost bet he's been crawling around a dozen or more times a day. Been active all the last week. I think he heard humans got coronavirus and he wants to avoid getting it. Afraid it'll be transmitted back to the penguins and then the bats and then the lizards. Who knows? Maybe he identifies as a penguin. Oh, here's one. I filled out my census yesterday, and I had to laugh about how you identify. Well, is this a physical reality question, or is this a how do I feel about myself at this point in time? But when I got to the history thing, I pulled out the booklet I have of my ancestry back into the 17s and 1600s and listed those. I don't know. I've never had a DNA test, but these are my actual ancestors. I guess that would be the origins, right? And though my brother and sister disagree on the tribe of Indians, I go with my sister because she actually was the one that her husband prepared all the real data. So, by April 1st. Oh, if you don't fill it by April 1st, there are federal laws for not doing it, and they will. They already have sent me a second notice that explains that if I don't fill it out by April 1st, somebody's knocking on my door to fill it out. So that kicks in on April 1st. They start doing every place that hasn't. It literally, I took my time and it took me 10 minutes. It might be 10 questions. They aren't tough ones. Do you live in your house? I love the second question. Are you sure you live in your house? We just want to ask this other question. You said nobody else lives in your house, but are anybody else living in your house? I'm like, okay, this is like a second question. It's a second chance question to the first question. And then, who are your origins? Do you own a rent? Pretty simple questions. I'm sure it'd take a little longer if there were a bunch of people living in the house because you have to type all that in. But there's a code that you put in and a few questions and it's over. I debated on not doing it, making them come to the house and doing a video. And I'm like, that's really not my place to make the government spend more money for a video that I don't even make money on anyway. So it would be kind of impish of me. The citizen question is not on it. It doesn't ask if you're a citizen of the United States. Or even a trick question like, were you born here or have you become a citizen? Not a trick question like that either. They left it off. The Democrats, God, here we go political again. I can't help it. I'm so angry with what this slush shit they put in this policy or this law that they're trying to draft. I know that it would cost an election, but I wish Trump would say no. And no, NPR doesn't need money. The arts don't need money. I'm sorry, they don't. If they failed, then they weren't supposed to be here to begin with. And the thing about Trump, anything to do with anybody in the government can't. The companies that they own, or even though they're not running or whatever, they can't. Nobody in that company. So the workers that get laid off are shafted. Why are the workers bad? Why do they have to suffer? So there's a lot of crap in there that is insane. But he has to sign it, or else that'd be the end. They would just the Democrats would turn it into such a political fiasco. November will determine if this company recovers. And it's not an either or, it's a multiple of bad situations. Because if what looks like is going to happen, a landslide for the Republicans, and the Democrats getting their ring for everything they've done to us, well, think about it then. You're giving the Republicans all the power, and I'm sorry, but I don't like the Republicans either. I know they're supposed to be conservative, but only they're forced to be that because the other side. But wow, you like to see it close to even. If you only have two choices, I would rather the Republicans than the Democrats because they just want the government to own everything. Really, literally, make every decision that you used to have to make so you have a great life. And the Republicans really think that there should be just a couple of people running the open market and the rest of us work for them. So we're in danger of overdoing the punishment, you might say, and cutting off our nose to spite our face. Hopefully not. And you do see a lot of things that are going to happen that are going to look back and say are good. Nationalism is the reality of nationalism is at least partially going to be realized. We're at least going to be able to take care of ourselves in the country because we found out all of a sudden other countries will close their borders too, and not just to travel. So we'll see. Yeah, I really don't want to discuss any of the other stuff because it's also. But as I said in the beginning, they were not going to get the math right because they're not mathematicians. They're scientists and they're politicians. Neither one live in reality. The mathematician lives in reality. You don't say how many the death rate is if you don't even know how many people have it or have had it. You don't say, well, these sick people have it, and of them, so many die, so here's the death rate. And that's what the doctors did, and that's what our politicians did. And all the real educated places that do these models. But it's starting to show. The 2.5 million in America is now down to 20,000, or England, whatever it all is. They're so absurd. I don't even try to remember which ones are which. But the government did it to us. In the first report I saw of a projection of how much it's going to cost, everyone's from 18 up is going to pay about $8,000 back to the government because of this. Because obviously somebody's got to pay for it, right? And it's us, and it's $8,000 a person right now. So if you get $600 for 4 months, twice a month, I don't think you're going to be break even with what you're going to pay back. So reality again doesn't look good. But in a good note before I leave, American ingenuity, American capitalism is jumped in this thing with both feet all the way up to their neck, and they are full board. And that is what's going to save us. And it has nothing to do with the government. Hey, Joe Cool, good to see you. Well, When it breaks down to the math of it, you have to put the right X's and Y's. You can't put the wrong ones and expect to get an answer. But they're already revising even the head people that get to talk or Twitter people that no, this is not near what we said. The numbers aren't close, and we're making the difference in other reasons that weren't even part of the mathematical equation to start with. Like, do you think we might build some more respirators? Well, let's not add that into it. We'll just say there aren't enough, and we don't even know how many we need. Yeah. Nobody expected the government to get it right. Not anybody with any sanity. We just hope they don't go too bad. And personal opinion, we should not have this program. Not the way it's written. One thing in it without having to do with this just should not happen. Again, that's the should. And the reality is, if it doesn't happen, what's the result? I'd have to take the Kennedy Center off of my bucket list of things to do, I guess. But I wish everyone well. I hope you are like me who hasn't heard of anyone who's died from any kind of the flu this year. Never met anybody, no anybody who's ever died from the flu in my lifetime. So let's get through this, overdo it a little bit, and come out on the other side, and it'll be in the past. There is no normal. Normal is change. So trying to live in the past doesn't work. And hopefully the young generation that goes through this will be more prepared in the future for something that happens that is worse. And it's like the question I posed last night. This is a respiratory situation. Other things can cause pandemics and that. You think we'll be ready if it's not a respiratory situation? Even if we get out of this, we got all the stockpiles, and the next one has nothing to do with it, we're not any more prepared. So every day it changes a lot. And every day you got news 24 hours a day instead of 6 and 11. So don't stick with what you think today is the right answer tomorrow if the facts change, or if you can try and look on the bright side. And if anybody wanted to know some of the statistics that aren't out there, is that more people are watching the news now than they were during impeachment. So that's also to me a good sign. Oh, we're going to try and escape now, reptars? We got all that built up energy now. Maybe if I can crawl through the wall. All right, I'll let you entertain everyone for a minute. He just wants to get out and help everybody. That tail's getting powerful. Flipping them rocks. Is that a ninja move? Thank you for your wishes. I also wish for that. There are some things they consider, the experts consider, that contribute to you having issues. The latest one I heard was from pot smokers are more likely to have an issue because it settles in the lower lungs and they inhale harder. Experts. High blood pressure is an issue, but that's like to say 75% of the people in Italy had high blood pressure that were also sick, but they're also 85. And the reason they have high blood pressure is they have other things. You got to factor other things into it. Just not say, hey, it's high blood pressure because 75% of them have it. You can't conflate the two or use one as a measure without all of the things taken into consideration. But obesity, high blood pressure, they're all saying those are bad because it's part of things that put a harder time on your respiratory system. However, in the converse, they go, the people that have too high of immunity system overcompensate, it causes lesions in the lungs, and they fill up with fluid and drown, which is what the flu is. But they're the experts, and that's just the information that is coming out. Experts are like teachers. They can't really do anything, so they tell you what other people have done. And you slowly slide back down. Go, Reptar, go. I mean, how simple minded do you have to be to think it has something to do with Corona beer? I guess just about as simple minded as to drink fish tank cleaner because you don't want to catch the coronavirus. Work up an appetite. Are you reading the chat? Is that what you're doing? I think he's reading the chat. Maybe this time you can get out. See, this is like what the scientist does. I've tried 900 times to get out here, but that doesn't prove you can't get out here because that's just anecdotal. It's just why doctors shouldn't be allowed to make those decisions. Or, excuse me, scientists. medical scientists. There are a lot of people that can make comments about me that are all true. Not too hard to prove me a hypocrite if you listen to much of what I say. I try. All right, I'll stare at you if you're going to stare at me. I have really big eyes with my glasses. It magnifies them, so you ought to be scared of me, right? And in an effort to get this video taken down so nobody sees me making a fool of myself, I'm going to call it the Wuhan virus. If I wanted to make sure it got taken down, I'd say who the whistleblower was. But hey, there are some great conspiracy theories you can write over this thing. I mean, serious ones of behind the scenes development of the virus, spread of the virus, control of the media. Sure, lots of them. I wish we'd finish with a few of the other conspiracies first, like Hillary, the fake investigation, Trump, Russiagate, all the billions that we fought this private war against Russia through Ukraine. You know, some of the other ones that there's documentation of right now. They already tried to put a bill, part of that bill to impeach, create a committee to impeach Trump over the virus. Literally, was in the bill. Thank God that didn't pass. All right, we'll try. Now I really got to wash my elbow. But like Biden, I'm the only one in the room, honest. So on a lighter note, we humans are the most adaptive creature that has ever existed, and we will come through this on the other end. And I think that's what Trump tries to say when he comes out every day. He tries to give us hope, which is his job, and of course, they can't have that. You all worn out, Reptar? Can't even climb up? There we go. Climb up and say goodbye to everyone. I got probably a little too cool down on the bottom for him. I should have a heat plate underneath the heat pad underneath the green, but luxuries have to wait. All right, guys, thanks for dropping in. If you haven't hit the like button on the way out, leave comments if I need to shut up or whatever. Reptar, you aren't going to say goodbye. All right, we gone.